Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Racing Roundup program. Good to see you. Good to have you here. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. It's Tuesday, April 21st, and we've got an amazingly strong program. We have 2 Hall of Famers in the house. We've got Pat Haney here as well with his race cars out front. We've also got the brand spanking new, just tested at Slinger 1 week ago. Steve April, defending Slinger Super Speedway Super Late Model Champion, is here tonight with his race car, as is Duke Long, who's racing the Late Model Division at Slinger this coming season. Their big openers this Sunday afternoon. We're also talking to Brad Miller. Yep, that Brad Miller at 7 o'clock or so. He's busy at Miller's Sales and Service right now. We'll catch up with him in a little while. As we mentioned, Pat Haney's here. We'll talk about the Southeast Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. We have Hall of Famer Rich Bickle here. I say Hall of Famer because in November they will be inducted. We'll go through the entire list of inductees. We'll have those guys on the program as well to help share the celebration that will be all season long on through that November coronation. Bill Krebbing is going to catch us up on the world of IndyCar racing. We also have the short track report on the way, thanks to our friends at Bonafide Security Solutions. Our NASCAR report brought to you by Anderson's Pure Maple Syrup. And indeed, Ty Majeski will lead things off momentarily, who's going to be racing in the May 3rd Joe Shear Classic at Madison International Speedway. I do want to take a moment, though, and honor and recognize my fellow Fox broadcaster, Steve Burns, who had a long battle with cancer. And for those closest to my fellow NASCAR sports broadcaster, Steve Burns, when they worked with Bristol and Food City and adding Steve's name to this past Sunday Sprint Cup Series race, they knew something most of us did not, that Steve would not be on this earth much longer. It was a great outpouring of support during the race coverage and awareness for the fight to stand up to cancer. No doubt Steve never gave up his fight, but the Lord called him home earlier today. When I heard the news, I tweeted the first attributes that came to my mind about Steve. Nicest man, priorities in order, professional, friend, courageous. I first worked with Steve at World Sports when he added it to his NASCAR duties to be in the booth for ASA races on TNN in the late 1990s. Since then, we've crossed paths many times. We chatted. With that big smile of his, usually he beat me to the greeting, "Hey, Jim," before I could say, "Hey, Steve, how's your day going?" Please keep his wife, Karen, and son, Bryson, and the entire Bryson family in your prayers. The pylon of the famous 33rd Indy now says Burns Strong, hashtag Burns Strong, in front of the pagoda at IMS. It reaches beyond. Mario Andretti's comments. There was a great Race Hub special. I almost missed the show tonight, trying to watch every second of that on Fox Sports 1. Certainly, tribute's worthwhile, but more importantly, keep in mind Steve's fight and how much he fought to fight cancer, and that fight goes on for a lot of families, including the Burns family, who's in mourning at this point in time, as many of the racing community is. I'll be in Richmond this weekend to see if there's any more tributes and highlights, no doubt, about Steve Burns, a great man at age 56, passed away today due to cancer. We're taking a commercial break. When we come back, we've got an action-packed show. Stay right here on the Big 920, the Big 1070, also on our webcast at racingroundup.net. Join us in the conversation. We look forward to seeing your tweets and your Facebook updates, and we share pictures throughout the show. Tell us what you think. Have some fun with us. Better yet, come down to Paulie's at 81st and Greenfield in West Dallas and join us. The crowd is here. We got room for a couple more. Some are heading off to the Brewery game thanks to the Paulie's shuttles. So stick around. We got a lot more to cover here on the Racing Roundup program. You're listening to us in Milwaukee in the Big 920, and on Madison's home for NASCAR, the Big 1070. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Racing Roundup program, live in Madison on the Big 1070 and the Big1070.com online. Also, live on the Big 920 in Milwaukee and the Big920.com. You can see what we're doing on our fancy HD screens here. It's on our website, racingroundup.net. What you can't see is the great crowd. And if you can see it, you can be part of it each and every Tuesday, all season long. To further entice you to join us tonight, we have tickets for the Joe Shear Classic coming up on May 3rd, the ARCA Midwest Tour season opener. We have some Slinger Super Speedway tickets. We're talking to the defending Slinger champ for all good things and possibilities. Steve April's car's hanging out there. He's hanging out inside with us. We also have some tickets to Road America. This time around, we're going to give away 2 adult tickets to the Sunday, May 31st Subway Superbike doubleheader at Road America. Find out more at roadamerica.com. Those are the giveaways after the show with some other cool merchandise. We've got some die casts, some hats, some T-shirts, some Anderson Pure Maple Syrup. So join us here at the Racing Roundup headquarters, Polly's Pub and Eatery, 81st and Greenfield. If you can't join us, tune in right now to a really cool interview with a driver who is making a whole lot of headlines across the country. He won at New Smyrna Speedway in the World Series of Asphalt this past February. He's the youngest champion and the only rookie to win the ARCA Midwest Tour season championship last year. At age 20, he is currently going to UW-Madison for engineering as his major. He's also a Kawicki Driver Development Program driver, and he'll be racing in the Sunday, May 3rd, Joe Shear Classic presented by Skag Power Equipment. He joins us from his dorm room via the phone. Let's welcome in Ty Majeski. Ty, welcome to the Racing Roundup Show.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
This is pretty exciting. I could talk volumes about how impressed I am with you at this young age to be doing what you're doing, but you've been racing a lot already, maybe more so than your Midwest competition, but it doesn't mean that they aren't stiff and tough competitors when you race against them at Toledo and this past weekend at the Dells. There's a whole lot of competition you'll be facing come May 3rd at Madison, won't there?
Oh, for sure. I can't wait to get some of the best Midwest drivers all together at the Butcher Classic and the ARCA Midwest Tour opener. I'm really excited for it. It should be a great show.
You are one of the ARCA Midwest Tour stars, touring stars. You've committed to run the entire 2015 schedule. Obviously, as a returning champion, there's a target on your rear bumper. No, I didn't say that should be a sponsor you should run after. I'm sure that's something you guys do all the time anyway. But talk about the importance of getting a good start to a season and getting that championship form to perhaps repeat as a 2015 champ in the series.
Well, I think it's huge because last year we really had a rough beginning of the year. We had a carburetor issue at Toledo running second, and then we had a flat tire at Madison. So our first 2 races, we didn't even finish the race or multiple laps down. So, and we really dug ourselves into a hole, and I think it took us till like maybe race 7 or 8 to actually get, within a few points of the points lead. So we're kind of playing catch up the whole season, which, sometimes isn't a bad thing. Sometimes you can get, you get a lead in points and you start, I guess, quote unquote points racing instead of doing the best you can. So, I think there's pros and cons to each side, but obviously we're going to try and do the best we can and build ourselves a good point lead early on in the season.
Our first guest tonight on the Racing Roundup program is Ty Majeski, who's racing in the Sunday, May 3rd Joe Shear Classic at Madison International Speedway. MISRacing.com is the website to find out more about that afternoon show. There's practice on Saturday. There's other divisions, Mid-American Stock Car Series, plus Midwest Trucks on Sunday. So when it comes to your track time, Ty, I'm guessing a pretty large car count, just guessing. How much do you have to be ready when you roll off the truck in that pit area come Sunday, May 3rd?
I think you got to be pretty ready. I mean, it's always comforting as a driver when you unload fast. There's a practice day on Saturday, so we're gonna have plenty of time to get our car dialed in. So there should be, like you said, a ton of cars. I'm really excited for the entry list to come out and see who's all gonna make the trip up. And like I said, yeah, I'm really excited for it. It should be an awesome show. So come on out.
And Ty, part of your championship last year, you got a taste in a full 3,400-pound stock car at Daytona. Being the ARCA Midwest Tour champion, you got some laps in December. Does that mean you're looking at other opportunities, or are you focused on running as many super late shows as you can right now?
Well, we're going to do both. We're going to run a full super late model schedule. I think we have, 30 to 40 races lined up this summer. Of course, I'm trying to move forward in the racing world and trying to open up some opportunities to potentially race some bigger stuff throughout the summer. So we're still working on all that stuff. Nothing we can announce yet or anything like that, but hopefully something will come through.
Well, certainly you're adding your name quickly to a lot of impressive lists, including what could be a winner of the Joe Shear Classic. Prior winners of that race, Nathan Hosley, defending race winner and 2009 champion. Steve Carlson won, and what an emotional victory lane that was for him. His buddy and mentor was Joe Shear. Ross Kenseth won in 2011, Andrew Morrissey 2012, Travis Sauter in 2013. When it comes to the Joe Shear Classic, perhaps your dad or Toby Noodleman, your awesome crew chief, they might have stories about Joe Shear. So does this add any special meaning to you, knowing that it's named after such a historic and important race driver from Wisconsin?
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't get the privilege to watch Joe Shear race when he was in his prime. I really wish I could have. You know, I would go and watch YouTube videos online. I mean, the guy was just unbelievable. He could do stuff with the race car no one else can. So definitely be a real special win for me. That was actually my first Midwest Tour start ever. I think that was in 2012. So it'll be cool to go back there and race that race again.
And when it comes to racing, Greg McCarnes, who is now owning Madison, he owns the ARCA Midwest Tour. He was on our show last week, and off air, he told me something about Ty Majeski. You guys might not know, listening to this or hearing us live in Polly's, you are pretty good at this iRacing deal, simulator iRacing. How good are you, Ty?
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's a great hobby for me, and I'm ranked number 1 in the world, I guess, off of iRating. I stick to a lot of the short track stuff, the super late model, the late model stock, that kind of thing. So I'm a short track guy, and that's where I have the most fun. But yeah, it's a great hobby, and it keeps myself sharp throughout the off season. And you know, I learn a lot of stuff as far as the setup goes and mechanics of the race car. You can do all that stuff, all the adjustments right online, and kind of do some trial and error and learn some things that I can apply to my real life racing. So it's a really cool deal.
How much does it apply? How much does it help you when it comes to racing for real, doing the iRacing as well as you do?
Well, I think the biggest thing is iRacing is all hand-eye coordination. You don't have that quote-unquote butt feel. You know, you're not actually sitting in the race car, so you have to see when the car is getting loose and you have to react. So in some ways, iRacing is actually more difficult than real-life racing, and you have to be really, really consistent on iRacing. Not that you don't in real life, but like I said, it's a lot tougher on iRacing, so I think that really helps me in real life to be a lot more consistent as a driver.
Looking forward to seeing your race come Sunday, May 3rd at Madison International Speedway. How about I stand for Ty Majeski for joining us for a few minutes. Ty, thanks so much for taking time out of your studies to hang out with us tonight.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
We wish you well. Ty Majeski, again, racing in the ARCA Midwest Tour, the defending series champ, looking for his first victory at Madison. Great time to catch up with him as well. It's also another time to continue this spotlight on the short tracks with the Bonafide Security Solutions Short Track Report to select the right business and residential security system for your needs, including alarm systems, closed circuit, and card access. It's a lock. Contact a Great Wisconsin Short Track supporter at 262-790-9400 or go online to bonafidesafe.com. Travis Sauter started 9th and picked his way to the front of the field Sunday afternoon at Dells Raceway Park. With 23 laps to go, Sauter took the lead from Skylar Holtzhausen, our guest next week on the show, and went on to claim the $3,000 win in the inaugural Icebreaker 100 Super Late Model race at the Dells. Holtzhausen settled for runner-up honors with fast qualifier Dan Lensing third. Defending ARCA Midwest Tour champion Ty Majeski, yeah, that kid we just talked to, that guy. He was fourth with Nathan Hosley rounding up the top 5. The Great Northern Sportsman Series ran a 40-lap feature as well on Sunday afternoon. Randy Brunig held off a late race charge from Dave Truitt, who was the show, to win the race by 3/4 of a car length. 7-time IRA Sprint Car champ Bill Balog was the benefactor of the pre-race redraw, claiming the pole position in the process. He used the preferred starting spot to jump to the point and lead the entire distance in Saturday night's 30-lap season opening feature at LaSalle Speedway in Illinois. Last year's IRA point runner-up Bill Rose chased Balog to the checkers. 3-time Power Eye Midget champion Brad Loyat was third. Jordan Goldsberry was fourth, and with Loyat's performance, including quick time, he is the point leader after one event in the IRA Series. The bumper-to-bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Series continues Saturday night at Beaver Dam Raceway this Saturday in the Jim Whipperworth Memorial. We're going to talk to Steve Sinclair on this program a lot about that very race. This program, Steve's in the house as well. Thank you, Steve, for coming down. 2-time NASCAR Illinois State champion Alex Papini has claimed more feature wins than any other driver over the past 2+ seasons. Saturday night is part of the 68th season opener at Rockford Speedway. The McChesney Park resident notched his 23rd win in a late model since the beginning of 2013. Papini's latest conquest in the late model division at Rockford might have been his best and most thrilling, as it was a frantic late race battle with Jake Guiley. Papini used the momentum on the race's final corner to get under, against, and past Guiley in turn 4, sprinting down the front stretch to narrowly take the checkered flag. The win capped off a strong season debut for Papini, who also claimed fast qualifier honors and won the Fast Dash at Rockford. The sportsman feature at Rockford's Court of Iowa was dominated by Steven Erickson. 5-time American short track champion George Sparkman came out on top of a thrilling race-long battle with former division champ Nick Cena Jr. en route to his season-opening win in the 4-cylinder 25-lap main. Also, weekly racing action begins at Jefferson Speedway this Saturday night. The bumper-to-bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Series at Beaver Dam Raceway is this Saturday night. And the Slinger Speedway kickoff is this Sunday afternoon. Lots more on that in a moment with our guests here on the Racing Roundup program. Tonight's Short Track Report is brought to you by Bonafide Security Solutions. Raise your security IQ. Learn more about the wide variety of security products, including safes and gun safes, by visiting bonafidesafe.com. Bonafide protects what you value. We now look ahead and look beyond and look to what is the IndyCar season that is. They just raced the famous Long Beach Street Course this past weekend. Here is Bill Kreming with a report to catch us up on the world of IndyCars as we start our second show of our 31st season. Bill, welcome back to the program.
Hey, thanks, Jim. You know, it's really, really good to be back on the Racing Roundup show. You guys have always look like you're having a lot of fun. You know, it's been an interesting season so far. The advent of the aero kits has been all the talk. Unfortunately, the talk hasn't been very positive. The pundits have described the version of the new body kits as a Venetian blind surplus, and another kit as a yellow flag trolling kit. When the cars took to the track at St. Petersburg, the combination of the long off-season and the fragile aero kits resulted in 5 caution periods lasting 22 laps out of the 110-lap race. Juan Pablo Montoya led the Team Penske juggernaut to claim 4 of the top 5 positions. Tony Khan in the NTT Data Chip Ganassi Chevrolet was the interloper when he claimed 3rd step on the victory podium. When IndyCar moved to the Big Easy, they found it anything but easy. The track layout was perfect for good racing, but the weather wouldn't cooperate. Rain tires allowed the drivers to get some practice in, but lightning caused the qualifications to be canceled after only one group of drivers were able to time in. It rained on race day, but fortunately without lightning. Unfortunately, the drivers didn't adapt to the changing conditions, and the numerous collisions resulted in 6 yellow flag periods and caused the race to end as time expired. James Hinchcliffe, driving for the Aero Lucas Oil Smith Peterson Honda, used smart pit timing to claim the first victory after going winless last year. Elio Castroneves, James Jakes, Simonis Di Silvestro, and Juan Pablo rounded out the top 5. The drivers and the sanctioning body were ready to turn the season around when they ventured to the oldest street race in the United States for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Scott Dixon, the eventual winner, explained why this race was different than the first 2.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when, guys maybe up their game or pay attention. Obviously, the conditions were pretty difficult at NOLA. St. Pete was, first race of the year, people trying to make big moves. And I think in the past we've had some really robust cars. Single-seaters shouldn't hit each other, but, the way the DW12 was initially built, you could actually, get into people and didn't break it. So, they've, I think both Honda and Chevy have done a good job with trying to make, the aero kits a little stronger. But in hindsight, we shouldn't be hitting each other. So.
Team Penske, minus Will Power, was threatening to run away with another race, but the Target Jeff Ganassi Racing Chevrolet, piloted by Scott Dixon, was having nothing of that. Elio and Juan Pablo Montoya claimed the front row for the start, but Dixon used a pick by his teammate, Tony Kanaan, to take the lead over Elio on the first pit stop.
Yeah, it's I spoke to TK. He said I need to buy him a beer. And I will, even though he doesn't drink, so I'll drink it for him.
While Dixon pretty much kept Elio at bay for the balance of the race, Juan Pablo had an eyeful of his newest teammate, Simon Pagenaud, in his mirrors. Ganassi's Tony Kanaan joined the party at the front when the checkers fell. Juan Pablo has a 1-point lead over his teammate, Elio Castroneves, in the season-long point standings, and we asked him why the 4-person team of Will Power, Elio Castroneves, Simon Pagenaud, and he are so strong.
We have no chemistry here. It's terrible.
It's so
a Colombian and a French, a Colombian, a Brazilian, and where's the other one from? Australia?
Toowoomba.
It's like, are you kidding me? No, it's good. You know what's something that's really cool?
I think that's why we have a chemistry, because we don't understand each other. So that.
One of the amazing things about having the 4 of us being so competitive is, you do a great lap in practice. You finish practicing, you look at the data, and they're still kicking your butt somewhere. They are. You know what I mean? There's always corners where they're better than you. So you always find ways to better yourself. And I think that's, more than the cars driving better, whatever it is, I think the group of the 4 drivers is making a big difference.
Now, talking about making a difference, on Friday, Connor Daly was driving the 2-seater, giving thrill rides around Long Beach track to the lucky spectators. On Saturday morning, he got a call from Dale Coyne asking him to fill in for Rocky Moran, who broke his thumb in a practice accident. With only 45 minutes of practice and with a seat borrowed from Marco Andretti, Connor was able to out-qualify 2 drivers and then turned in the second fastest lap by a Honda driver in the race. The 17th place finish does not accurately reflect this young man's ability. He is someone who really should have a full-time ride. This weekend, the drivers return to Birmingham for the Grand Prix of Alabama, and in 2 weeks is the second annual Angie's List Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and then 2 weeks later, the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500, and I can't wait, Jim.
And Bill, thanks for keeping us abreast of what is going on in the Verizon IndyCar Series and leading up through the month of May. Looking forward to have you as part of our program all year long. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Jim.
Absolutely. Bill Creming joining us, and for 31 years and counting, we cover the world of motorsports. When we come back, we're talking about the bumper-to-bumper IRA Outlaw 410 Sprint Series with Steve Sinclair, the man in charge. On the way, we've got drivers who have their beautiful race cars out front. They're brand new. They're brand spanking new. They look awesome. There's 4 race cars out front. Thank you to Steve Apel, Duke Long, and Pat Haney for bringing out both of his race cars. Rich Bickle and Bill Preetz will be on the program as well. We have the NASCAR report on the way, and Brad Miller is joining us as well. It's a full show. Join us here at Paulie's. We'll be back in moments. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Racing Roundup Show in Milwaukee on the Big 920, and I'm Madison's home for NASCAR, the Big 1070. We'll be right back. And we're back on the Racing Roundup Show. Thanks for being part of our program. I'm Jim Trado, hanging out with a bunch of racers and friends and family and hanging out with some fun folks that are called full-time have-at-it racers. These guys know how to get it done. We've got a lot of great racers yet to come on the program. I want to thank them for being here tonight with their crews and their family and their friends. We've also got a great segment here, right now. Thanks to our friends at Miller Sales and Service for bringing it to us. We're going to talk to Steve Sinclair with the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Series in a moment. Do want to remind you that Miller Sales and Service can get you on the water. Yeah, think about that. For a new Alumacraft fishing or Manitou pontoon boat powered by an Everroot E-Tech motor, call 920-994-4358. Miller's also has port-a-dock lifts and docks, so don't be wishing you were fishing. Get to Miller's Sales and Service. Ask for Jerry, Brad, or Warren. That number is 920-994-4358. Miller's Sales and Service. All their inventory is online at millerssales.com. Let's welcome in another one of the busiest guys in motorsports. They ran their first season race for 2015 this past Saturday at LaSalle Speedway. We're talking about the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Series. The man in charge of the series has also been very active in the off-season, if you will, chasing the country. What else? Going to sprint car races and helping officiate them. Let's welcome in Steve Sinclair. Steve, welcome back to the Racing Roundup program.
Hey, Jim, thanks for having me on.
This is pretty exciting stuff. This past Saturday, you get a chance to see a whole bunch of cars, 40 of them roll into the pits. And you know how much, maybe people don't realize, there's a lot that goes into planning and promoting and getting things organized. How did things come off on Saturday? I saw the race results were good. How did everything go with the newness of the season?
It went well. I mean, you're never quite as prepared as you hope you are, but we did good. If the wind wasn't blowing 30 miles an hour right into the grandstands, it would have been better, but it was a good show. Good show.
And when it comes to it, Billy Baylog comes in and wins it. Bill Rose finishes second. And then there's Brad Loyat kid. I know a lot about him in midgets. I've seen him run the Chili Bowl, puts a wing on a sprint car and races third and sets fast time. That's impressive.
Yeah, Brad ran the whole ASCS National Tour last year. He's a multi-time Power I midget champ. Getting guys like that to race with us,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. And also shows how good Bill Baylog and Bill Rose are by topping them.
And when it comes to Brad Loyat, this kid, there's no lack of money. He's got a lot of talent. He's raced with a lot of good people. He's always had really good people around him. So that even speaks more volumes to think about the IRA series itself.
Absolutely. Seeing Kelly Kinser's son Cody there and the Mohan boys and, you know, Illinois' best. I mean, I think we had 4 or 5 states represented at LaSalle. We'll have 4 represented at Beaver Dam this Saturday.
This Saturday is the big one, the Jim Whitworth Memorial. This Saturday evening starts off what is the Wisconsin portion of the schedule. The majority of the races are really within where you can hear this show on the Big 920 and the Big 1070. So if you want to know more, you can certainly go to irasprints.com to find out more. But I'm excited to see the young talent getting the chances, and then also not knowing who's going to pull in the pits besides. This is a fun series to be around.
Absolutely. I was actually surprised at a couple guys that weren't at the last race that are coming to Beaver Dam. So we had a stout field last week, and we can add Mike Ranke and Travis Whitney and Bill Worth and Steve Meyer and Scott Beardser will all be there this Saturday that weren't at LaSalle. So we'll have 30 plus and we'll be strong.
Scotty Neitzel will be on our program next week, so we'll talk to you about how he did and how he's going to do May 9th when you go back to Beaver Dam Raceway for your second race there and the third of the season. When it comes to this Saturday, it's special because we've had on Joe Whipperforth, second generation racer. His dad Jim did so many things for so many people. It's kind of neat, you guys, throughout the season with the Schmidt Memorial and of course the checkered flag racing, kind of in honor of Dick Witt, and this one with Jim Whipperforth getting recognized. I think it's great to see you guys honor guys that have been involved in a lot of ways.
I think the whole second half of the season is pretty much memorialized. And what does that tell us? I guess we're all getting a little older.
Or it's worth saying, hey, you should remember who this guy was.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to remember where you came from. Absolutely.
Yep. And when it comes to this Saturday, Beaver Dam is a home track to some drivers. Neitzel, I know, does really well there. He's from the area. But is there a specific driver you can point to and say, if Delansky shows up, who's got some free time now, if you've been following what I've been reading, he came and he grabbed some money from you guys last year. You also had a guy by the name of Sheldon Hauntenchild, that's Jack's kid. He came and won with you guys last year.
Yes, he did.
So you don't really know who's going to be there, but in all reality, you're saying 30-plus cars, so it's going to be a good show, period.
What's really good about it is there's 10 guys that can legitimately win. You know, I guess, you know, everybody says, well, you know, Bill's probably won the majority of our races. He hasn't walked away.
No.
And even at LaSalle last week, Bill Rose was in a car length for most of the race. So there's 10 guys. I mean, there's a lot of young guys. Philip Mock picked up 2 wins at Beaver Dam last year.
Yeah, he did.
So including a year ago today, or a year ago this Saturday.
Yeah.
So he'll be one of the guys to beat.
I'm thinking Ian Madsen, Tim Kading, Cody Kinzer, Jack Hodenschild, Brooke Tatnell. These guys all played with the IRA just last year. Not to mention, you've got some really good young drivers. Scotty Thiel, I think, is another aspiring talent. He's going to Chase Racing already this year. He's probably going 5-7 nights under his belt already, or more.
Yeah, he went down to Florida and raced at East Bay. Scotty Thiel, Ben Schmidt, I mentioned Philip Mock, Jeremy Schultz. You know, we can go on and on and on. Kyle Martin's a rookie this year. He'll be good. Josh
Can he still
Walter.
be rookie after winning at Luxembourg last year? He strapped the 410 in and wins the thing. He's like, I could do this more often.
Rick Kelsey has been racing sprint cars for 19 years.
Yeah.
He's an IRA rookie because he's never ran more than 8 races in a season, which is our mark. So he's rookie eligible.
All right. And as far as the world turns in sprint car racing, if you've not been following it, we'll get you up to speed because this is just our second show of the year. As we, finally get the snow shovels, I think, put away here in Wisconsin. There's a new owner of the All-Star Sprint Car Series, which you are going to co-sanction a race with this year or two, Tony Stewart. How is that going to help influence and gain awareness for sprint car racing?
Well, I think getting Tony involved, he's been a major supporter for sprint car racing for a long time, obviously.
Yep.
And but with him owning it now, it's definitely revamping the All-Stars. They were kind of on a decline, in all honesty, and we have been co-sanctioning with them the last several years at Wilmot. But they'll be bringing some boys with them this year. It's going to be a big deal. And I had the pleasure of working for Tony in Florida this year, and it was quite the experience, and it's something I'm very proud of.
What kind of grind was it? You take a lot of pride in what you do every time you cross that pit wall across to the racetrack, but what was different about this Speed Weeks, and how many nights was it?
I worked for him. It was supposed to be 3 nights in Ocala, plus practice and a rainout, so that turned out to be 5, and 2 nights at Volusia. It was real neat, and when the phone rang that time and I picked it up, it was quite the feeling to get asked to go work for him. So that was something I'll never forget.
Pretty cool. And he, by the way, Tony Stewart is at the White House today with his team, honoring the next Sprint Cup Series champions. Tony wearing a suit and everything. It was kind of nice to see. But you saw him in a different suit. I think the suit he prefers is a guy that's involved in sprint car racing.
Oh yeah,
wearing blue jeans, kicking tires, and getting involved.
He's wearing a headset. He likes to just do his deal, and he spends a lot of time in the infield. And he's a track prep guy now at the Chili Bowl.
Yes,
he's on the tractor.
Say, you worked with him at the Chili Bowl. He was on the tractor all the time.
Absolutely.
I had a chance to ask him.
He's getting good at it too. He's getting good at it.
I asked him about that very experience. Tony Stewart was in the MRN truck at Daytona for a taped interview segment, and he was waiting his turn because this guy named Jeff Gordon was in there first in this little studio. So the room was kind of quiet, and I thought, I'm going to ask about the Chili Bowl. I got to do this. I said, I saw you on that tractor. I said, when did you roll it in? And he said, I tell you what, he said he had 9 pages in a notebook full. What we did, when we did it, how we did it. So that notebook was in that cab with him the whole time, knowing when to turn it. I said, did you roll it in before the B? He's like, no, we let the guys practice before the A, then we got it before the A. He was going through the whole routine of what he did on that
he took
tractor.
it serious.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you when I saw you first. Yep. When it comes to this, though, how much does that experience, as we're talking with Steve Sinclair of the IRA, he's the series president, how much does all that experience help you put on a better show and get better racers to know, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, let's go play? It seems like it's working pretty well.
I've been blessed. I try to go as many races as I can, and I've pretty much worked with everybody. I worked with the All-Stars. I worked with NSL for their opener.
Yep.
I worked at the Chili Bowl. I worked at the Knoxville Nationals. The more relationships you can have in this business, as you well know, the better off you're going to be. So you always pick up on something. You don't know it all, and things that you can apply to your series, you try to apply. We stumble once in a while. It happens to everybody, but I think the majority of our shows come off well, and I think everybody does have a comfort level. I think I've been around enough now. It's 22 years with IRA. I think they know what they can expect, and you treat it fair.
And I think a lot of it has to do with how you go about things, and I think a lot of it has to do with how you treat safety. And Gil Radke's in the audience tonight from Midwest Safety Teams.
Yes, he is.
Gil has said, I'm retiring. He's been out a few times with you, but as far as that goes, how does that help you with all the things he worried about, all the little things to make sure the racers are safe? How does that help you go to a new track or the same track again with that mindset of all he did with the series?
Gil's done so much, and he's kind of trained Lee Smith, who's the Beaver Dam. I think he's a fire captain at Beaver Dam. He follows us, and obviously he knows fire stuff, but Gil taught him the racing side. Gil still, he says he's retired, but he still shows up now and then, and he put all our safety stuff together this year, and I can't say enough. And Gil, I know you're sitting out there. You're a Hall of Famer in my book, buddy.
There you go. Gil Radke is certainly a guy that's been around this game a long time. And because of those people you surround yourself with, you make it better for the racers. And I know the racers appreciate Gil as much as they appreciate a clean race and a fair call.
Yeah, and IRA was one of the first ones to start putting a program together for additional medical insurance for the racers. And I'm proud to say we've had it since 1993 and never had to use it. Never had to use the excess stuff, so I'm very proud of that.
And your other job is with an insurance company that also involves in racing, right?
Yep. I've got 162 racetracks I represent for K&K Insurance, yes.
How does that help you with what you're doing with the IRA bumper-to-bumper IRA Outlaw Series?
I get to go to a lot of racetracks and look at a lot of different things and talk to 162 different promoters. So, again, you always learn something. I can show you my email list on my phone today. You wouldn't believe it. But
I can only imagine. Now, when it comes to the IRA Sprints, IRAsprints.com is where to find out more. When it comes to this Saturday, you're going to find racers that are kind of putting their toe in the water, but you're also going to be working with other sanctioning bodies this year. How much is that as a full-time job to keep those relationships and wondering, hey, I know Philip Moxey had motor issues last year. You have to keep aware of that because you want to know, is he coming or not? Is that going to be a points eligible kind of a thing? I mean, all those factors.
We've
you realize
got
how much work that goes on?
I used to worry about it a lot more. We've got a big enough core that I know we're going to have enough cars to put on a show.
Okay.
I'm very seldom am I, is it Friday and I'm thinking, oh my God, we don't have enough. We're blessed. We are totally blessed that way. With the co-sanctions, when they come into Wisconsin, they can't come in here without our support.
Okay.
And I think there's enough respect where those are actually our shows that they're joining us.
Gotcha.
It's not their show that we're tagging on. It's our show.
Gotcha.
So they're supporting our show.
And it's going to make a better show because that deeper, richer, as I call it, the cake is pretty sweet already. There's a lot of frosting on there, but they add just one more layer, that 3-layer, to make a 4-layer cake, in my opinion, for the Wisconsin race fans. We're talking about racing at Beaver Dam Raceway 2 times again. 3 total this year. Dodge County Fairgrounds and Beaver Dam on the half mile 5 times. This is the schedule just this year. Wilmot Raceway 5 times. This is all within our listening audience area. And 5 times at Angel Park Speedway in Sun Prairie. I know one of those is co-sanctioned with the NSL. That's going to be fun. How
That's
did
going to
things
be
go
huge.
last year when you did the return, and how many times? It's 5 now this year. That's going to be pretty big.
Anybody that went to that show at Sun Prairie last year, they're coming back because that was the best, wildest finish I've seen in my 22-year career here.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So we got 5 shows at Angel Park, and I'd like to thank them, the firemen there, for making the track wider, taking that guardrail out, making it sprint car friendly. But you were talking about the market here. We've got 32 or 33 races on our schedule, and I'd say 27 or so are in this market.
Yeah.
And that's why Bumper to Bumper is our title sponsor. It comes out of the Madison distribution centers where our budget comes, and that's because of where we race. Absolutely.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you taking the time on our show to come here in person and share with us amidst the very beginnings of what's going to be another great season for the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Series. How about I stand for Steve Sinclair for spending a few minutes with Steve? Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks a lot. I did come up. Yeah, I do live south. I came up, and this is going to be a great year. Thanks.
Did I say on or on? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You know what? After 31 years of this show, I guess I can, forget things. But it's great to know you're way dialed in. Thank you, Steve Sinclair. And make sure you sign our MB Sign backdrop, please. This here program is not even half over. We got a lot more to talk about. I'm going to have to start talking faster. That's all there is to it. We've got some great guests lined up for you. Brad Miller's on the way. We got Steve Apel and Duke Long. They brought their race cars with them. They're racing this Sunday afternoon at Slinger Super Speedway. We also have the NASCAR report and Brad Miller on the phone, and Pat Haney, Rich Bickle, and Bill Preetzel scheduled to join us next here on the program. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Racing Roundup Show in Milwaukee in the Big 920 and on Madison's home for NASCAR, the Big 1070. We'll be right back. And welcome Racing Roundup listeners to stop in to watch all the races on their 14 TVs and flat screens. Danny Lynch's at the corner of Highway 100 Lincoln has been a longtime supporter of racers, including National Road Racing Motorcycle Champion Dan Delansky. Relax around the big neighborhood bar with 2 pool tables and dartboards surrounded by TVs. Whether you're meeting up before the game, want to watch the races with race fans, or just want to grab a cold one, head to Danny Lynch's at the corner of Highway 100 Lincoln and West Dallas.
Plan a trip with your family to Road America in beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, as they celebrate 60 years of fast family fun. Road America not only offers some of the greatest racing in the state, it's also a family destination for camping, hiking, geocaching, and so much more. Plan your family getaway to Road America now for the best fan experience in racing and your family playground for fun.
Are we there yet?
Just a short drive from the valley. Come for the experience. Stay for the race. Visit them at roadamerica.com or call today. 800-365-RACE. That's 800-365-RACE.
You're listening to the Racing Roundup Show, live from Paulie's Pub and Eatery at 81st and Greenfield in West Dallas. Sponsored in part by Complete Heat Treating. Stay tuned in Milwaukee on the Big 920 and in Madison on the Big 1070. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Racing Roundup program. We're live in Madison on the Big 1070, thebig1070.com. Live in Milwaukee on the Big 920 and thebig920.com. And also, thanks to our friends at Rapina's Fine Foods, rapinas.com. We have a webcast going. I'm looking at 2 cameras looking at us, and we've got a great crowd to follow along with us on racingroundup.net. Make sure you're part of our Tuesday night tradition here every Tuesday between now and the end of September. Looking forward to having you join us. Most recently, in the month of April, it's always the voting time. You know, it's election time. Well, guess what? There's a new cast of characters that will be voted into the Southeast Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. Pat Haney's on the board with that. Pat is a vintage racer, and he's here to unveil to us on the radio who indeed was voted in pretty much by their peers and racers that care a lot about racing and keeping the traditions alive for 2015. Pat, take it away. Thanks for coming back on.
Thanks for having me, Jim. Pleasure to be here again. This is probably our 8th year of electing, getting people inducted into the Hall of Fame. And to me, we had probably one of our finest groups ever. We're going to do this in alphabetical order. Don't want to show any favoritism, but we do have 11 names this year. We had a tie for 10th place in number of votes, so we're inducting 11 people. Lowell Bennett, 7-time Slinger Late Model champ, 5-time Slinger Nationals title winner, Kaukauna champion, and I wish I knew how many,
Lots.
Yes. And believe it or not, I believe he won a Shawano Dirt Track Championship back in the 80s.
1980.
1980. There we go.
Fact checking right here with these guys.
I'm telling you. And the guy to my right here, Rich Bickle Jr.
Yay, Rich. Thanks for coming back on the program. We'll talk to Rich in a moment. Hall of Fame, Rich Bickle. That sounds kind of cool together.
Got a couple of slinger titles, 4-time Nationals winner, NASCAR racers. And I gotta tell you this. I'm sitting at Rockford, I think last year, maybe the year before, and I didn't really know Rich, but he's sitting in front of me and he's wearing this jacket, and it's 5-time snowball winner, Derby winner, right?
Yes, sir. I can say yes to that one.
And I'm like, wow. You know, that's crazy. So we got you on the list, and well-deserved.
Thank you.
Jim Blazek is going to be inducted this year. Poor guy had to chase Frank Smith for I don't know how long. Probably outside of Jim Hendricks, the most successful Ford driver out there on the Milwaukee circuit. Won a lot of features. Good guy. Donnie Gaden, 2-time Eastern champ, 1999 IRA champ, and won a 360 title up at Plymouth last year. So he's been around a while. Dave Moulis is getting in. Brother of Jim, 4-time Wilmot champ, 1992 IRA champ, winner of many prestigious sprint car events. Pete Ostrowski, 4 Eastern modified titles. Even won an IMCA modified title at Manawak in 2007. Peter's probably got close to 100 feature wins. Another guy sitting up here with me, Billy Prietzel. I'll let him tell you what he's done.
Still doing.
But yeah, still doing and has done a lot. John Quinn, the founder of Checkered Flag Racing News. Been on the ballot for a while. It's good to see him finally get in. Ray Toft, promoter of Wilmot Speedway for many, many years. One of the original IRA founders. And I believe he owned the Lake Geneva Raceway for a while. Dave Watson. Sure you all heard of him. Former Slinger late model titleist. Also got championships at Rockford and Madison. USAC Rookie of the Year in 77. And dabbled in NASCAR a little bit.
ASA champion in 77 as well.
You are right. I'm sorry. Yeah. And Johnny Z. Johnny Ziegler. This guy probably had the coolest cars back in the day when you could be creative and come out with just about anything you could dream up in the shop. He was an 81 Slinger champ, winner of the Slinger Nationals, the Rockford Nationals, and he was a Madison champion. So good to see all these guys get in. It's a good group of guys, well-deserved.
Great.
Congratulations.
List. And the induction is in November, right, at the
November 7th at the Shower Arts Center in Hartford. It's attached to the Hall of Fame Museum. So if you buy a ticket, you come, you can tour the museum, and we have a great ceremony, a great dinner. Just a good time.
Let's welcome in some of those Hall of Fame inductees right now. They're sitting between us, Pat. Let's welcome in Rich Bickle and Billy Prietzel, guys. Welcome and congratulations on being in the next class. This is cool.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Bill, we're going to start with you. You're still really involved in racing when you can. Your wife, Jan, is your pit crew mostly, but you still seem to want to win you more than your fair share. What was it like when you got this call saying, I did what? I got voted in what? This is pretty cool.
You know, when I was put on the list of nominees, I was quite surprised and didn't really know what to think about it at the time, but the end result is when I found out that I had been nominated and was going to be inducted, it actually changes the way you look at what's going on in racing. It does make you feel a little different, and I guess with, you know, you look at the fact that, you know, the fans vote and peers vote, it's quite special to me, and I really appreciate it.
And Bill, I know that thanks to Facebook, thanks to Pat Haney's vast photo collection, and you keep posting photos on Facebook, I don't remember all the cars you drove, but you started when, and what divisions did you run throughout the years until you went mainly tower racing lately?
Well, I don't think I remember all the cars either anymore. You know, we are getting a little bit older. But anyway, I started at Hales Corners in '73 with Sportsman. won a championship there in '77 in the Sportsman. Stayed there basically in the Sportsman's division until 1980. We split divisions in 1980 with the late models, and I ran basically late models until '92. In '93, I kind of backed away from it and built a Mid-Am car, and we did that for a few years, and then built a Mid-Am truck and ran that some. And
championships in both series?
Not in the trucks, but got three in the Mid-Am cars. We had championships and got to go a lot of neat places racing with Mid-Am, and also in the early 80s when we traveled for speed weeks and got to go to Eldora and Pennsboro and Volusia, just neat places to go, places I would have never imagined when I started racing I get a chance to go and compete at. And then in '05, I bought an old ASA car because the series kind of went belly up, if you want to call it that, and did some road racing and got to go a bunch of neat more places. So it's been a joyride, and a lot of things just fell into place at the right time to keep me in racing, and it was just a lot of luck and got an awful lot of help from an awful lot of people.
Not too many guys can say in 2014 they won 2 features in one night at Slinger Speedway. You can say that.
Well, we got lucky, but we'll take them.
Still getting it done. Rich Bickle at age 52 said, you know what, this is my last year. I'm running everything I possibly can. I'm going racing. And it was probably only 45 races. Rich, this is pretty cool knowing that you've been given the honor by your peers and by fans of this Hall of Fame status. But I'd say it's been a pretty good, solid run behind the wheel, hasn't it?
Well, they sent the letter to me. I read it and I went, "Damn, am I that old already?" And I just kind of,
you are.
Yeah, I know. You look back and you just go, Jesus, and it makes you really think. From day one, and till end of basically, I ran Madison lacrosse my last couple races, and you look back and you tell people stories and you say things this, and everybody's like, how do you always remember all this? Because I guess when you live it after 38 years of doing it, plus growing up at the racetrack, my dad, you remember a lot, but there's a lot of things I don't remember too. But it was just a great honor to be put on the ballot, and then to get that call and said, hey, you made it. Had a lot of fun doing it.
I do know one thing. You are the only 5-time champion of the Snowball Derby in Pensacola, Florida. You've also kept track of every track you've run. What's the number of tracks you ran in your career?
Well, I looked at it like every track I went to, and if a track changed like Lake Geneva, went from the old paper clip to that track, I counted that. I've been to all 3 different places when I was at Homestead. So I wanted to get to 225, but I got to 224, and I only ran 1 dirt track, and that was a grudge race against Scott Hansen, Luxembourg, way back in the day, in ASA days, early days. And so been to a lot of places and seen a lot of stuff, and that's what makes you learn and teach you how to win, because you go to so many different racetracks, and if you put everything down in your memory bank, you say, geez, this is just kind of like this place, and what do we do there to make it right? And fortunately, that's how I got the win 400 some features.
Yeah, lots of winning, lots of things to celebrate. Pat, you are still racing. You've got 2 race cars out front. Billy Hoffman just walked in as the show started. He's done a wonderful job on those cars. I'm glad they're as beautiful as they are right now. When you go in to race those cars, maybe bang some fenders. Maybe, Pat. When?
Yes, Billy did do a beautiful job on both cars. I gave them to him in primer, and he gave them back to me the way they look. Looks like we're going to start our season off May 9th at Kaukauna.
All right.
Never been there.
So these are the Illinois vintage racing guys migrating north, or is this just you're hunting and picking now?
No, I'm working with 2 different groups.
All
There's
right.
a group out of Wisconsin, a group out of Illinois.
Okay.
The Illinois guys are mainly dirt.
All right.
The guys out of Wisconsin are all asphalt. So one of the cars is for asphalt only, the other one's for dirt. And I'll probably have to tap, get some pointers from Rich here about how to get around Kaukauna.
Good idea.
I'm sure he's won a few races there. But
Turn 4 comes up real fast.
And so does the turn 4 wall.
Drive it.
That's
Oh, it's a wall.
That's what I meant.
But it looks like we got about 13, 14 different events on our schedule, and we don't race the same track twice, so we'll see what happens.
And the race cars out front have sponsors on them. Why don't you pop through those folks that I know that make you help you go racing, because you're not racing for a ton of money.
No, we are not. Everybody gets paid the same, which is pretty cool. Finish first, finish last. Central Services, Gary and Melody Boer, been a long-time supporter of mine. Supporter of the show. Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment, another supporter of the show. NNS Towing, do they support the show? I think so.
Actually, when Charlie gets off of work, he usually drives his race car over when we have him on. So
There
right
you
down
go.
the road. They helped you out bringing one of your cars here, didn't they?
There you go.
There you go.
Yes, they did. I did a little advertising on Facebook, and Dale Wire came on board.
Cool.
Wire and Sons Heating and Cooling. And I got Billy Hoffman's Arizona Artworks on the trunks of both cars. And tonight, a gentleman approached me and offered me some money to put some stuff on a car for Tracy Ray's on Oakwood, the old Noreen's.
Nice, cool.
Which is Sean Uptall and his wife's new place. So we'll be supporting them this year, and we still got some space open on the quarter panels.
Would Facebook be the best place to find? Like, I'm a fan of Pat Haney Racing. Is that where we want to latch on to what you're doing?
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. And I've got Scott Krieger, a good friend of mine, who created the page and keeps it updated, and has been incredibly instrumental in helping me get both cars ready for this year.
It's great to see you guys involved. It's great to see all the things you're doing. We want to have you back on the program as well. We want to get you in this month of euphoria, if you will. The announcement came out just a couple weeks ago. This is our first chance to get him on. How about I say for Bill Preetzel, Rich Bickle, future Hall of Famers here in the Southeast Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. And Pat, thanks for all you do all season long, and good luck on May 9th at Tucson when you go racing. Oh, Rich has one more thing.
I do got to say something. I got two pretty good stories at the banquet for Dave Watson and Johnny Ziegler that, especially the Ziegler story, people were getting a kick out of, that actually helped me a lot in my career, so I just wanted to say that.
That's November 7th. You can't talk Rich out of it unless you buy him some beers tonight at Polly's. Maybe he'll start spilling the beans. We don't know. We don't know. Pat's got one more thing.
Yep. Got to thank my wife, Mary Kay, for putting up with everything I do. And if I didn't thank her, I'd get my, tail
you'll be
kicked
going
when I
home.
get back there.
Yeah, be going home. And
Y'all cool. I love you, babe.
And Bill, I'm guessing Jan is on top of your mind all of a sudden.
Well, she's not here tonight because she's with the grandchildren, so
right.
I'm solo tonight, but I think she's listening. I sure appreciate all the years she's put up with me and all the stuff I've done.
It's going to be a great banquet November 7th. Find out more. Look up on Google, Southeast Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. There's a website. More details there, guys. Thanks so much for being part of our show. We're taking a commercial. When we come back, we got racers that are racing this Sunday at Slinger Super Speedway. We're also talking dirt racing with a guy who's won championships in both in recent years. Brad J.J. Miller joins us next on the Racing Runner program. Out front, we've got Steve Apel and Duke Long's cars ready to go for Slinger this Sunday in the spring opener. That and more on the way in this edition of the Racing Runner program. Stay tuned. You're listening to us in Milwaukee on the Big 920 and on Madison's home for NASCAR, the Big 1070. We'll be right back.
Friends on Forest Home is the new name for BB Rubbles at 56 and Forest Home, and the tradition of the trophy is back. When there's a caution flag during Sunday NASCAR races, if your number's drawn, you get the trophy and drink for free until the next caution flag. New owners Jeff and Patty are carrying on the NASCAR tradition in a remodeled, fun atmosphere with $2 tappers and beer bucket specials during the races. Friends on Forest Home at 56th and Forest Home wants to sponsor your league team. See Jeff for details. Milwaukee's original NASCAR bar is now called Friends on Forest Home.
Plan a trip with your family to Road America in beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, as they celebrate 60 years of fast family fun. Road America not only offers some of the greatest racing in the state, it's also a family destination for camping, hiking, geocaching, and so much more. Plan your family getaway to Road America now for the best fan experience in racing and your family playground for fun.
Are we there yet?
Just a short drive from the valley. Come for the experience. Stay for the race. Visit them at roadamerica.com or call today. 800-365-RACE. That's 800-365-RACE.
If you want to eliminate the hassles of planning a trip to the races, then you should hook up with Boring Bob's escorted NASCAR racing tours. Boring Bob offers transportation, lodging, tickets, nightlife, shuttle service, and more. Boring Bob knows all the back roads into and out of the racetrack. His motor coaches get the best parking spots. Let someone else worry about race traffic after the race. Pick one or pick them all. Go in style to Talladega, Charlotte, Joliet, Daytona, Michigan, and more. You name the race, let Boring Bob do the rest. Boring Bob has great packages for NASCAR, Winston Cup, and Busch Series events, including hotel rooms. Call Boring Bob today to make plans now to go on one of Boring Bob's famous escorted NASCAR racing tours. Boring Bob's always at 414-321-1307. That's 414-321-1307.
Thank you for holding with a personal message while you wait.
Hi, this is Richard Petty for my friends at Schaefer Oil. Thank you for calling. I got them running down the person you're trying to reach. They'll be with you in just a minute. And by the way, did you know we use Schaefer's oil in our Richard Petty driving experience cars? Yeah, we love it too. Hey, hold on, and someone will be right with you. Just a minute. Thanks for calling.
With the crazy price of gas or diesel, improve your fuel mileage today with Schaefer's Specialized Lubricants. Schaefer's neutral gasoline additive can improve your mileage up to 10%, roughly 2 to 3 miles to the gallon more than you are getting right now. Schaefer's premium diesel additive improves mileage of 1.5 to 1 mile a gallon more, and it's been tested to improve diesel pickup truck mileage up to 2 miles per gallon. Schaefer's Rep Chris Hauser can get you the best deal. At $4 a gallon, you cannot afford not to call Chris Hauser. To improve your fuel mileage today, call Chris Hauser, the Racers Schaefer Specialized Lubricants rep, at 262-860-1004. That's 262-860-1004.
You're listening to the Racing Roundup Show, America's longest-running weekly motorsports radio program held in front of a live audience. Stay up to speed every Tuesday night on the local racing scene, NASCAR, and the world of motorsports. Live on WOKY AM, the Big 920 Milwaukee, and on WTSO AM, the Big 1070 Madison. There's still time to join the racing crowd for tonight's live broadcast at Paulie's Pub and Eatery at 81st and Greenfield in West Dallas. Once again, here is the voice of NASCAR at the track. You hear him on MRN's NASCAR coverage and as a pit reporter on Fox Sports 1, the host of the Racing Roundup Show, Jim Trado.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Great program. Can't thank you enough for being here. And I know that these guys travel well, shall we say. Steve Apel and Duke Long, who are racing at Slinger Super Speedway, here. They're hanging out. We have one man on the phone we're going to get to first because he just, I think, got back from selling another trailer at Miller Sales and Service to Steve Sinclair of the IRA Series. He just bought it today, and I want to tell you, I'm glad the sale was made before we got you on the program. Let's welcome via the phone the man in charge at Miller Sales and Service, Brad Miller. Hey, Bradley, how are you?
Jimmy, thanks for having me on. And Steve, thanks for the business today, my friend.
Yeah, he's here. Did he gave you the nod? Sure. Yeah, I think he said you're welcome. It's going to be cool. It's his tire trailer at Wilmot, he said. You got a lot of things going on, Bradley. Tell us about your racing. What's going on in 2015 for you?
We got a pretty busy season coming up. I just picked up a new car that we're going to debut this year. Bought ourselves a 2015 Rage modified chassis that we're going to probably get started at the 10 grand to win show up at 141.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, that's different. That's fun.
Like I'm not crazy enough having a dirt late and a dirt mod, or in an asphalt late model too. So.
Any pointers for Steve Apel? Because he's sitting right next to me. Any pointers for Steve Apel? You do fast times. He does feature wins and fast times, and stuff like that. Any pointers for Steve?
I really can't give Steve any pointers. That kid does a hell of a good job, and he was at the track on Sunday when I was there, and I know he tested a week before, so we should probably put on a pretty good show this coming weekend.
This Sunday, you plan on racing at Slinger Speedway, sir?
Yes, we are, my friend. Yes, we are. So hope to see everybody there.
And what is your schedule going to consist of? How many nights? Did you add them up yet? Did somebody do that for you? You got a lot of people around you.
Yeah, I have not added them up yet, Jim. My plan is to run for another championship up at Plymouth this year. We lost it last year. We finished second to Mitch McGrath, and I'd like to get that title back again. And as time permits, I'd like to start coming back to Slinger a little bit more, hopefully to make it there for at least 10 to a dozen shows this year. We want to run red, white, and blue like the call, and I really miss going there. And obviously, we'll go to Rockford at the end of the year, and Modified will pick and choose a few shows.
Wow, sounds like a lot of fun. Busy at the.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Busy at the real job, though. Tell us what fans can have when they want to say head up Highway 57, not that far away, to a great deal. Lots full of cars, trucks, porta docks. You got all sorts of things going on. I'm sure this spring fever is hitting you.
We have got a lot going on. We've been selling trailers like candy bars as of late. It's been just absolutely phenomenal. The amount of Bravo trailers that I'm starting to see pulling into the racetracks it's very gratifying seeing all that come in there.
It's not often, actually it's quite often. I go down the road wherever I am, even in the Milwaukee area or heading down to Chicago or whatever, and I always look for the sticker. Where'd they get that from? And honest to goodness, there's a lot of Miller Sales and Service trailers in the area, but there's certainly something, and you get a lot of good stuff that people bring back to you and say, I only used it for 2 years. I want a new one, or I'm getting a bigger one, or whatever. You guys do a lot of work when it comes to dealing with people in return business, too.
You really do. It's a repeat and referral business. That's what it's all about. You take care of the people, and they keep coming back to see you, and they tell their friends, and it's amazing. I mean, the amount of race trailers we've been selling as of the last few years, everything's starting to pick up a little bit. And, we ran into a lull there for a while where we weren't getting much business from the racer, but you look in the pits, and all the product we sold has lasted so well. Everybody's been hanging on to the stuff, so. But now they're starting to pull the trigger on some new stuff, so that's been pretty cool, too. There's some really nice stuff to be had.
Well, we thank you for your support of this show, and we're hopefully going to talk to you again throughout the season if you have time. Sounds like you're a busy guy, but certainly a great fan favorite to watch on the racetrack. Slinger champ, Plymouth champ, asphalt, dirt, doesn't matter. You get it done, and it sounds like you're rearing to go for the season. We wish you the best as well, my friend.
Thank you, Jim. And, boy, it's probably a good thing we did this via telephone, because when I heard that star-studded crew you had down there tonight, I don't think I would have made it home too early this evening.
I hear you. You could have got some really good deals tomorrow morning without Brad in the office. Or maybe Brad was in the office, but not really there. Hey, great catching up with you, Bradley. We'll catch you again soon, okay?
Thanks for everything, Jim.
All right, Sam, for Brad Miller. Thank you, Brad J.J. Miller, for coming on the program. Miller Sales and Service. I asked if you had any pointers for Steve April. Steve, it sounds like you don't need a whole lot. Defending champion of Slinger Super Speedway. That sounds good again, doesn't it? And welcome back to the program again.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
When it comes to racing at Slinger, though, it's always changing. You put a brand new car together this year. Fans will see a brand new number, but the same attitude, I'm guessing, and the same amount of work goes into making that car fast.
Yeah, it's not a brand new race car, but it's totally rebuilt from the ground
Okay,
up.
the pictures you had on Facebook and Twitter looked like it was a brand new car. So you tore it down to nothing then, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, we tore it down to nothing.
All right.
A year at Slinger Speedway is a pretty tough track for the car, so we wanted to go through everything to make sure that we were prepared for this coming season.
And when it comes to getting on the track once or twice already before the spring opener, how critical is that? What did you guys learn about what you did to the car to make it go faster?
We learned a lot. This year was a little bit different with a different motor package. This year we're running a Wagner LS motor. It was quite a bit different. It took almost an entire day to get used to the power difference and the drivability of the car. But we feel we have a good piece for Sunday, so hopefully we can see everybody out at the racetrack on Sunday. I'm sure we'll all put on a good show for everybody, and I know Brad will look pretty good on Sunday out there practicing, so I'm sure we'll put on a good show.
Now, fans may not realize this, but the times that I've seen you recently at Slinger, I was there twice last year. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I took notice of what you did. You won a feature, and you also ran very well in the Nationals, and I'm saying that you are one of the very few teams that have the car good from the center off in the corner. How different is this motor? Do you have that same kind of drive off, or what have you guys had to done to match that ability? Because very few found what you guys did when it comes to corner speeds.
Yeah, we felt that it was the motor package is pretty similar to what we had last year. Just that it seemed like it carried a little bit different at the end of the straightaway. Torque and horsepower wise, I think it's probably pretty similar. Just a little bit lighter in the front of the car. So hopefully I'll save our front tires for longer races, and I can focus in on trying to go out to some different tracks this year and still try to win races.
Are you going to defend the Slinger Championship, or are you going to see how things play out? What's the goal now looking ahead to the season?
The goal going into the year is just going to be a winter race at a different track besides Slinger. We felt we have a pretty good setup under Slinger, and go back to Slinger every week and race there. And then also try to get out to the Triple Crown at Madison, and also the Red, White, and Blue at Kaukauna. Those are two tracks I want to get to as much as I can this year. And with this Alan Quickie driver development program, it really helped step up the program and be able to kind of venture out some other tracks and get some more races under my belt for this coming year.
Now, make mention of that, because the Alan Quickie driver development program was in March was announced as 7 drivers of the hundreds that were finalists. Last week on our show, we had a board member, Dennis Zarneska, who started this show 31 years ago. He's involved with that selection process, and you are one of the 7 to be chosen. Yes, there's money at it, but there's also other criteria of racing performance and also overall performance and attitude at the track. You obviously were nominated for a very good reason. You've won championships, you've got the great attitude, you've got the ability. But what kind of pressure comes with that? What kind of pressure do you put on yourself now that there's this extra label of, I'm special because these guys thought I was good enough to apply and win this chance to potentially cash in on $54 grand if I'm one of the best of the 7 of these drivers designated?
Well, it really makes you step up your program. Being a car owner, driver, this coming year, being my own race team, that kind of put the pressure on it. And then with this Alan Quickie driver development program, that kind of put the pressure on it. There's a lot of very good competition that we'll be going up against throughout the entire country, not just in Wisconsin, but throughout the East Coast, West Coast, and down south. So there's a lot of good drivers in that program, and there's a lot of money in the line. So there definitely is some extra incentive to go above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Now that it is your race team, does that mean you're going to add another car? Or does that mean you run the same car? More things to do with the same car?
Well, as of right now, we have 1 race car, and I always didn't want to make the excuse if I'm not going to travel because I didn't have 2 cars. I'm just going to race it, and if something happens, something happens. But That's part of racing. I have a really good crew behind me, and guys are totally dedicated to getting the car to the track every single race day. It wouldn't be possible without them. So figured something happens on either Thursday night or Friday night at Madison or Kaukauna. We'll work all day on Saturday and all day Sunday morning to get back out on the track on Sunday. So definitely have a great crew behind me, and can't thank them enough for all their extra effort this year.
Steve April's joining us now. The race car sitting out there all spanking, brand spanking, looking ready to go. This Sunday, will it be the first time you're point racing with it, right? At Slinger?
I wouldn't say we're point racing. I'd say we're going for
I'm sorry, it's a points race, but
yes,
that's your first race you'll be racing this season.
Yeah, this coming Sunday is our first race to start the season, and it'll be at Slinger. And I know that with the way the guys were tested on Sunday, that we'll have our hands full with a lot of the guys. But I'm pretty excited for the Slinger season to start. The first month or two is kind of not too busy, but come June, July, it gets really busy, and in August as well. I mean, we have a child on the way come end of August. So
congrats!
It'll be a very exciting summer.
And when it comes to it, what does your schedule look like? We just asked Brad Miller what his schedule may consist of. He rattled them off. Do you have it in mind, or are you looking at this week, next week, and the week after, and what we need to do to get it done? How many nights do you think you're going to run?
Well, we're going to run as much as we can with one race car, and that's going to be Slinger every single week is going to be your number one priority. But WIR for the red, white, and blue is going to be definitely a for sure thing that's on our schedule. And then the 3 races at Madison for the Triple Crown Challenge. Greg McCarnes is a great promoter, and I want to go help him support his series. Even at Slinger. I mean, Todd and Rodney do an awesome job of keeping the track alive, and I want to keep supporting them.
All right, now, Steve April, when it comes to giving advice, you're now in the giving end. I know that you spent some time with the Decker sisters when they came to Slinger and got acclimated. You've, I'm sure, been asked a lot of things. Our guest next to you, Duke Long, is not that long in the seat when it comes to experience. Daytime, afternoon racing at Slinger is different than nighttime racing. This time of year, what can you tell Duke or let the fans have an insight in when it comes to setting a car up for an afternoon like this Sunday's opener at Slinger?
Well, I mean, Duke's got a really good chassis guy underneath him. He's got a Pathfinder, same as what I got. So our setups are very similar. And, just about consistency. And that was the big thing that we tested on Sunday was just, running the same laps. And doing that is going to be the best deal.
And when it comes to racing at Slinger, you've got a great support crew. Take us through some of those folks that are on the race car and the folks in the pits that are in the garage when needed on a given weekend.
Well, definitely it comes down to your team. Between splitting up with the Del Camps this past winter, the guys really kind of rallied behind me to stick behind me and make sure that we were as well prepared for this coming season as possible. And of course, sponsors. The Alan Quickie Driver Development Program, that was kind of a really big new sponsor this year. That's going to let us kind of go out and travel a little bit. Schrader's Simplicity in Sussex. Allison Technologies, which is my employer. I sell CNC machine tools for a daily job, and then try to race on weekends. Engineered Metal Products, Ram Tool, Interstate Song, Wykes Industries, Bankers Life and Casualty, Bender's Restaurant, Break-In Equipment, Zeller Transportation, HMB Landscape Supply, Joe's Racing Products, Weld Specialties, Speed51.com, Bruce's Classic Restoration, Pathfinder Chassis, Wagner Motorsports, Wagner Automotive, and TD Graphics. So a long list of guys that really helped me out this year, and getting pretty excited for this coming season.
You mentioned one sponsor that happens to be in Victory Lane every Sunday at Slinger Superspeedway, Interstate Sawing. And that brings us to welcoming in our next guest, first time on the Racing Runner program. Let's bring in Duke Long. Duke, thanks for coming on the show and bringing your race car.
Hey, thanks for having me.
With Interstate Sawing and our friend Dean Strom, who covers the infield and interviews in the garage and at Slinger Speedway on a regular Sunday, is not here tonight, but he's very much part of our show. And he said, "You got to ask Duke. I can't be there, but you ask him how to get involved in racing." Did it really start out as you and your wife drinking beer in the stands at Slinger, and you pointed across the fence and said, "I think I can do that"? And you went racing. Is that true?
It's true. It was the last race, 2013. My wife and I were trying to extend our weekend and drinking beer, and I said, "Man, that looks like fun." My wife said, "You should buy a race car," so I did.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Very understanding wife. She should get the gold star and move 5 spaces ahead on the board of fun. What did you do first? Did you buy a race car? Did you talk to some guys in the pits? How did it all transpire from there?
just bought a race car and smashed my way through the first year. And Todd Thielen over at the Slinger track said, you always know when a concrete cutter / demolition guy starts racing, he's always trying to knock my wall down. But we spun our wheels through last year, and we're just looking to grow this year. So.
But you've gotten involved in a big way. I mentioned the Victory Lane backdrop, which is cool because now it's in the grandstands. If you've not been to Slinger, if you see the cars pulling the X, there's an interstate sawing backdrop there. The drivers get out and come right under the flag stand opening and stand in that area with the fans, and that's kind of a cool exposure opportunity for you. How have you seen racing and tying into guys like Steve April help with your business?
Well, I think race car driving is totally if you look in the stands, I think about probably 60-70% of the people are in the trades, and it's right in our marketing wheelhouse. And so I just thought, let's go have some fun and let's market the business. So. And
you've done your fair share of success when it comes to getting to play in the racetrack. You thankfully fill out a fancy sheet that I get to peek at before we come on the program. It's my first time to meet you, Duke, and hang out with you and spend a few minutes with you. Top 10 runs against some Big 8 boys. I'd say that's pretty decent.
Yeah. Last year, it was hard to keep up with the pack. And so they crashed a lot, and I was behind all of that. So I had some really good finishes there. But probably the highlight of last year was Rockford. It was a Big 8 race at the end of the year. And I qualified last. I had to race my way into it, and I was able to. We actually pulled off the track to get gas, and was still able to finish 6th. So I was pretty excited with that.
Yeah. How stoked are you? It's almost like having a really good golf shot at the end of the season. Now you can't wait to get back on the golf course. Is that what I'm seeing for you in the racing analogy here?
Yeah, I got hooked up with Pathfinder. They built a car that fit me. Last year was really tough. I was all balled up in the car. I couldn't breathe. It was really hot, and didn't have a car that fit me. So got hooked up with Pathfinder. We went down to New Smyrna. It was really good. I learned a lot from Joe Woods out there, and Rockford this year went really good. We qualified, I think, 20th, and we ended up 10th. And last week we were practicing on Sunday, and I think we were pretty fast out there. I think we're probably good enough for a top 5 now.
And the late model division at Slinger is a really tough nut to crack. So if you're confident that way, it sounds like things are going to be really promising for you this season. Is that Slinger your main objective this year, Duke?
Yeah, for sure. We're going to do all the Slinger races, but we definitely like La Crosse and Jefferson. I want to get out to, I like the big tracks like Madison and La Crosse. So, we're going to travel a little bit, but we're going to really concentrate on Slinger, so for sure.
And who are the sponsors helping you along the way, Duke, on that race car out front? Who are your sponsors?
Excuse me?
Who are your sponsors? Who do you have helping you?
Oh, yeah, Interstate Sawing, Interstate Truck and Auto, and we got a new, we got Brad, Keith Marina, and then we got a new sponsor today. It was DM Truck Body.
Nice, cool. A lot of people behind you. And then as far as the crew goes, is Joe Wood going to swing by and help you? Is Jason going to come by and say, here's the spring to run? Or are you going to educate your guys as well as you are with your crew guys? How many crew guys do you have with you?
Well, we had Joe Woods helping us out, guiding us along, and teaching us. We're on a program right now where he's trying to teach us to get on our feet. My son, Ben, he's spending a lot of time with me, and we're doing everything together. And we got hooked up with the Steve April crew, and he sort of mentored me along this year. He's seen how serious we were this year, and he doesn't want us to spin our wheels. So, he's a champ. You got to give him credit for that and helping us out. That's really great.
Well, guys, thanks for bringing the race cars down. We look forward to seeing you on the track this Sunday. We wish you nothing but the best. How about I say for Duke Long and Steve April, guys, we wish you the best in your next new adventures, which sounds like they're going to be pretty cool. Thanks, guys, for coming on. Excellent. Thank you, boys. We appreciate it very much. When we come back, we're talking NASCAR, and we're going to wrap things up and tell you who's on next Tuesday's show. We're live at Polly's Pub and Eatery. You're listening to the Racing Roundup Show in Milwaukee on the Big 920 and on Madison's home for NASCAR, the Big 1070. We'll be right back.
Hey, Wisconsin! Racing season has officially arrived. It's the Joe Shear Classic, presented by Skag Power Equipment. Sunday afternoon, May 3rd, Madison International Speedway. See the stars and cars of the ARCA Midwest Tour. Defending series champion and iRacing star Ty Majeski. Past winners Hasline, Morrissey, and Sauter. Daytona Speed Week's winner Austin Nason. Top Guns Island, Wyckoff and Swan. Skylar Holzhausen, the $10,000 kid. Chicagoland champs Baker and Schaefer. Snowmobile Derby champion Cardell Potter. Rising stars Decker, Barstad, and DeAngelis. Madison champs Filer, Johnson, and Wilbur. Champions and challengers from 5 states going wheel to wheel for 100 action-packed laps. Plus, Mid-American stock cars and Midwest trucks. Gates open at 11:30. First big race, 2 o'clock. Advance tickets on sale now at MISRacing.com. It all happens Sunday afternoon, May 3rd. Madison International Speedway. The Joe Shear Classic by Skag Power Equipment. The ARCA Midwest Tour 100-lap feature. This is the one big race you don't want to miss.
Bobby Gutnick and the technicians at Oak Creek Automotive on South 27th Street at Drexel are experts in automotive repair. From minor to major repair, from oil changes to engine and transmission replacement. For 23 years, Oak Creek Automotive has Milwaukee's South Side covered when it comes to know-how and automotive repair. Call Oak Creek Automotive at 414-761-3250. They're open for your convenience Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. and Fridays, 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. Head to Oak Creek Automotive on South 27th Street at Drexel for all your auto repair needs.
Is your business compliant with federal and state regulations? Are you sure? Business materials containing data about your employees or customers could potentially be legal liabilities. Eliminate the risk. Get compliant and sleep better. Call Piranha Paper Shredding. Piranha Paper Shredding gives your business safe, secure, complete, and green destruction of your company's sensitive information. Piranha Paper Shredding is your information destruction expert. Safe, secure, and complete information destruction is your business's best defense. Call 800-808-6577 or visit piranhapapershredding.com.
Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment is a fully equipped parts, sales, and service dealer of quality mowers, snow throwers, trimmers, chainsaws, and more. Olson services what they sell, does warranty service work on big box store mowers, and their expert service technicians are ready to get your equipment running right. Put their stock parts department and friendly, knowledgeable staff to work for you. Visit the racers at Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment today at 14323 West College Avenue, just 1 mile east of Moreland Road in Muskego. Olson'sPower.com. Olson's Power Equipment.
You're listening to the Racing Roundup Show, live from Paulie's Pub and Eatery at 81st and Greenfield in West Dallas. Sponsored in part by Complete Heat Treating. Stay tuned in Milwaukee on the Big 920 and in Madison on the Big 1070. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to the Racing Roundup Show. This portion is brought to you by Borchard Speed Automotive, Wisconsin's largest speed shop at 6101 South 27th Street in Greenfield. Borchard's 34th annual Father's Day Car Show is a must-see event with over 500 of the area's finest show cars. It's all at Borchard Speed Automotive on Father's Day, Sunday, June 21st. And this is time to tell you about next week's show. Another great program. Join us next Tuesday. ARCA Midwest Tour star Skylar Holtzhausen previewing the Joe Shear Classic and what he thinks about becoming a second-generation winner at Madison. Midwest Super Truck drivers, Blake Brown will be here. Jerry and John Wood and Zimmy promises to come back next week as well. And we'll have IRA Sprint Car drivers Scotty Neitzel to rehash and look forward to his weekend with the IRA boys. They race this Saturday at Beaver Dam Raceway. This is the NASCAR report, and what a better way to say Matt Kenseth wins at Bristol, baby. Awesome. Thanks to Matt Kenseth for winning, giving us all new hope that he can get the job done. The NASCAR report's brought to you by Anderson's Pure Maple Syrup, a proud Wisconsin family business, and NASCAR race team sponsor of Junior Motorsports and driver Regan Smith. It's made right here in Wisconsin and available at your favorite store. Anderson's Maple Syrup, pure quality for over 85 years. It was the longest race in Bristol history, not only in time but laps. They never went 511 laps there before. In overtime, rain comes down. Matt leads them on the pit road, and wouldn't you know, they said, we're firing up the jet drivers. We're going back out there. Matt Kenseth wasn't worried, though. He said, I think I had a good enough car to hold those boys off for 2 laps, and he did just that. Holding up Jeff Gordon on the restart, and there comes Jimmy Johnson. Where did Jimmy come from? He was a lap down, got crashed twice, and comes back to second. What a yeoman's effort by Jimmy Johnson on Sunday evening at Bristol. Jeff Gordon ended up third. Ricky Stenhouse fourth. Ryan Newman fifth. Paul Menard back in 11th. Nice job. I do want to mention Tony Stewart finished sixth, and he tested at Richmond before this coming weekend. So if you have a fantasy sleeper, Tony Stewart might be your sleeper indeed. Kyle Larson 7th. Justin Allgaier, career best 8th. Danica Patrick 9th. Yes, I did say that. 9th for Danica. She also should benefit from the testing at Richmond for Stewart House Racing. Austin Dillon 10th. Paul Menard 11th. That's a great job by him. I said last week that Eric Jones will get his Cup debut soon. I didn't realize because Denny Hamlin had neck spasms it would be last Sunday. But Eric Jones did a yeoman's effort, finishing 26th. Brad Kay, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, 35th, 38th, and 40th on the day. Joey Logano led all 300 laps of the Xfinity race. That's why he was that mad when he got dumped early by by Brad Kay's spin at the end of the 21st lap or whatever before the rain happened. Hey, tonight's NASCAR report was sponsored by Anderson's Pure Maple Syrup, a third-generation Wisconsin business and NASCAR team sponsor. Everything tastes better with Anderson's Maple Syrup. Try it in your coffee or tea, or even when grilling your favorite foods. Follow Anderson's race team all year long at Anderson'sMapleSyrupRacing.com. We want to thank our guests this evening: Ty Majeski, Bill Kreming, Steve Sinclair, Pat Haney, Rich Bickle, Bill Prietzel, Brad Miller, Steve Abel, Duke Long, and most of all, thank you fans for joining us here at Paulie's and on the Radio. We're here next Tuesday. Thanks to our great crew as well for making this happen. We'll catch you next time. Make that next Tuesday at 6 right here for the Racing Roundup Show. Until then, have at it, racers.